I always felt something was off with my fiancée. There were times when she would get these strange looks on her face, like she was hiding a big secret. I noticed how she would always be on her phone, giggling and texting at odd hours, and it made my stomach twist. I tried to shake it off, thinking I was just being paranoid, but deep down, I knew I had to find out the truth. When I finally gathered the courage to look through her messages, my heart sank. I found a bunch of flirty texts and recorded conversations that showed she was being unfaithful. It was like a puzzle came together, and suddenly everything made sense. When I took that evidence to court, I felt a mix of fear and hope. I watched her face turn from confident to scared as I shared what I had found. The jury looked just as shocked as I felt. I used to think my relationship with Sarah was perfect, but now I know it was all a lie. It felt like we were living in a fairy tale. We laughed, made plans, and shared big dreams. But looking back, I see those happy moments were just tricks I played on myself. The joy I felt was just a thin mask hiding something much darker. Every time Sarah smiled, I felt a strange twist in my stomach. Was she really happy, or was she just pretending? I'd come home, expecting a warm hug, but instead, I found coldness. Her laughter sounded fake, like she was putting on a show for me. As time passed, the cracks in our perfect picture grew bigger. Late-night outings, secret phone calls. Each one chipped away at my trust. I wanted to ignore the signs and believe the life we built was real, but the truth was waiting, ready to jump out at me. I felt torn apart, caught between love and doubt. It was wearing me out to pretend everything was fine. I longed for the truth to come out. Deep down, I knew betrayal was hiding behind our fake smiles. Our perfect illusion was falling apart, and I had to face it before everything shattered. One night, I finally confronted her. "Sarah, what's going on?" I asked, my voice shaking. She paused, her eyes darting away. "Nothing. Why do you ask?" The lie hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. "Because I feel it. You're not the same," I pressed. "I see you slipping away." Her smile faded. "You're imagining things," she shot back. But I could see it in her eyes. The truth was trying to break free. I knew I'd to dig deeper. "Are you cheating on me?" I demanded, my heart racing. "I can't believe you think that," she snapped, but her voice wavered. The mask was cracking. In that moment, I realized I couldn't trust her. As our perfect world began to shatter, I noticed the signs of betrayal I'd ignored. It wasn't just a feeling. It was Sarah's strange actions that hurt. She came home late all the time, and her stories didn't make sense. It felt like we were drifting apart, and I couldn't shake the loneliness. I tried to talk to her, but it felt like I was speaking to a wall. Her phone buzzed with secret messages, and my gut told me something was very wrong. Trust was slipping away, and I couldn't help but see the red flags waving in my face. I started to notice her sneaky ways. She laughed too loud at her phone, and whenever I asked about her day, she'd quickly change the subject. It felt like she was hiding something, and it hurt to watch the woman I loved slip away from me. Finally, I confronted her. "What's going on, Sarah?" I demanded. She waved her hand dismissively. "You're being paranoid," she said, her voice sharp. Each excuse felt like a knife, cutting deeper into my heart. When I found the messages from Jake, everything fell apart. It felt like a punch in the gut. The words on the screen showed a side of Sarah I never knew. Those flirty texts revealed her lies, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I thought she loved me, but here she was, tearing apart everything we built. Suddenly, my mind raced. I replayed every laugh we had, every moment we shared, wondering if they were real. How could someone I trusted hide such a huge secret? I realized I was living in a lie, one that shattered before me. I went from being a loving fiancé to a detective, digging into her deception. Days went by, and I watched her closely for signs of guilt. The late nights and the perfume that wasn't hers started to add up. My heart raced as I gathered proof, feeling both powerful and scared. I knew I'd to confront her, but I worried about what she'd say. Would she deny it all? Would she twist the truth to make me look crazy? The weight of her betrayal pressed down on me. I felt desperate, knowing that revealing her lies was my only chance to take control of my life again. I was determined to find the truth, no matter how much it hurt. The journey through her deceit was just starting, and I was ready to face whatever came next. "Sarah, we need to talk," I said one evening, my voice steady but my heart pounding. "What about?" she asked, a hint of nervousness in my eyes. I took a deep breath. "I found your messages. With Jake." Her face went pale. "What messages?" "The flirty texts. Don't lie to me," I shot back, anger sparking in my chest. She hesitated, then forced a smile. "You're overreacting. You know it's nothing." "Nothing? You think I'm stupid?" "I trusted you," I yelled, feeling the betrayal sting. She stepped back, her facade cracking. "It's not what you think." "Then what's it?" I demanded, my heart racing as I closed the distance. The moment I faced Sarah about her betrayal, it felt like a dam burst. Her secrets came rushing out, and I could see the fear in her eyes as I showed her the proof I had. Those chats with Jake. They were more than just friendly. They dripped with flirting and lies. My heart pounded as I realized how deep her betrayal ran. "Why did you do this?" I asked, my voice calm but fierce. With each word, her lies began to unravel. She'd painted a picture of our perfect life, all while scheming behind my back. It felt like I was stabbing through the fake world she built. "Did you ever love me, or was I just a front?" I pressed, and the silence was thick. She squirmed, trying to gather herself, but it was too late. I saw the truth now. Confronting the truth felt like standing at the edge of a cliff. I was scared, but I had to leap into the unknown and face what was hiding behind Sarah's sweet smile. Fear raced through me, but finding out the truth was more important than staying in my comfort zone. I'd spent too many nights tossing and turning, torn between what I hoped was true and what I feared might be. Finally, I'd proof. My hands trembled as I held the evidence. What if telling her the truth broke everything? But I reminded myself, being honest, even when it hurt, would help me escape this nightmare. As I got ready to confront Sarah, a storm of feelings hit me. Rage, sadness, and a fierce determination. I was done living in her web of lies. When I called her name and brought up Jake, I saw her face go white. It was like I'd pulled back a curtain, showing the dark secrets she thought were hidden. "Why did you lie to me?" I demanded, my voice steady despite my heart racing. Her eyes darted away. "I can explain," she stammered. "No more lies," I shouted. Each word felt like a weight lifting off my shoulders. I was breaking free from her deception. I was taking back control of my life. Confronting her was hard, but it gave me a clarity I didn't know I needed. I thought Sarah really cared about me, but I soon found out she was playing mind games. It started off small, like when she'd act all worried about my questions. When I asked her about being out late or mysterious texts, she'd flip it around and call me paranoid. I felt confused and lost, like I was going crazy. Her biggest trick was to act like the victim. One time, I confronted her about Jake. She started crying and said I didn't trust her. It made me want to shout, "You're the one cheating." But instead, I ended up saying sorry, feeling bad for even questioning her. It was a nasty loop, and I was stuck in it. Sarah didn't just use words, she'd use other ways to control me too. When I spoke up, she'd ignore me, giving me the silent treatment. Those days felt like forever. I'd plead for her to talk to me, to help me understand. But she'd just smile sweetly, acting like everything was fine while I felt like I was losing my mind. As I dug deeper into Sarah's lies, I knew I'd to find proof to reclaim my truth. My heart felt heavy with betrayal, but I'd to act fast. Gathering evidence became my only hope. First, I sneaked a peek at her phone when she wasn't looking. Flirty messages flashed across the screen, stabbing my heart like daggers. I needed more than just words to show her betrayal. Next, I turned to her social media accounts. I searched for clues, and what I found made my blood boil. Her stories didn't match up, and that only made me more determined. I started writing down every late night, outing, every detail. I even noticed the times she came home smelling like another woman's perfume. It was like I was a detective, piecing together the puzzle of her secret life. I began recording her conversations, hoping to catch her in a lie. My heart pounded as I listened, knowing each moment could bring me closer to the truth. I felt a mix of fear and anger, but I refused to back down. I wouldn't let her twist reality and make me feel crazy. I'd to stay strong. Every piece of evidence I collected was a brick in my wall of defense. I knew I was getting closer. With each new discovery, I felt more powerful. I was ready to confront her and expose her betrayal, no matter what happened. My truth would break through the darkness she'd created. "Sarah, we need to talk," I said, my voice steady. She looked up, surprise flashing in her eyes. "I know what you've been doing." Her face paled. "What do you mean?" she stammered, but I wasn't falling for her act. "I saw the messages. I know about the late nights." "You can't lie your way out of this," I shot back, my heart racing with adrenaline. She opened her mouth to speak, but I cut her off. "No more games. It's time to face the truth." Recording Sarah's conversations was my only way to find the truth. Every time I hit record, my stomach twisted with fear and hope. I needed proof, something that would show her lies. I kept my phone, hidden in the living room, hoping to catch her when she thought no one was listening. I wanted to uncover her secret relationship with Jake. As I played the recordings back, my heart raced. Each time I listened closely, searching for clues. These recordings were my lifeline. In a world where Sarah could twist the truth, I needed real evidence. What I heard shattered me. Her laughter, her flirty whispers to someone else, the pain hit me like a punch in the gut. The day I had to confront her was coming, and I clutched those recordings tightly. They were more than just sounds, they were my battle cry. When I showed them in court, everything changed. Sarah's confident smile faded as her lies were exposed, one playback at a time. In that moment, I understood the power of those recordings. They turned my silent suffering into undeniable proof. With each captured word, I took back my story. I wasn't just a victim anymore, I was a fighter for the truth. "Sarah, why did you do this?" I asked, my voice steady. "I didn't mean for you." "To find out!" she shot back, panic in her eyes. "Too late for that," I replied, gripping the evidence tightly. The truth was finally out, and I was ready to face whatever came next. The courtroom felt tight, like a rubber band ready to snap. My heart raced as I got ready to tell the truth. I could see the jury's faces, full of questions and doubt. I knew how important it was to stay calm, even though anger bubbled inside me. Sarah was across the room, looking both sure of herself and scared. Each second felt like forever. The jury was shifting as I showed my proof. The recordings were my secret weapon, ready to expose the truth. I took a deep breath, needing to sound strong and clear. Betrayal hung thick in the air, and I felt all the jurors watching me, ready to judge my every word. When I played the recordings, gasps filled the room. Sarah shifted uncomfortably, her confident mask starting to crack. "Listen to this," I said, my voice shaky but determined. I revealed her lies, and I could see the jury's faces change. They were waking up to her deceit, and the tension grew. I felt the power swing my way. I knew what was on the line. I wasn't just defending myself, I was fighting to show how she'd twisted everything. As I stood there, I realized this was my moment to take back my life. "You can't keep hiding the truth, Sarah," I called out, my voice echoing in the charged room. She glared at me, her composure fading. "You're making a mistake," she shot back, desperation creeping into her voice, but I pressed on, relentless. The truth was spilling out, and I wasn't about to let her twist it anymore. In that intense moment, everything changed. The jury leaned in, captivated. I knew I'd them. I could feel the tension crackle, and I wouldn't stop until the truth was set free. I sat in the courtroom, my heart pounding. Today was the day of reckoning, the moment I dreaded and waited for. I glanced at Sarah, who wore a confident smile, but I knew the truth. She thought she could fool everyone, including me. The air was thick with tension. Everyone's eyes were on us, judging every move. For months, I'd collected proof, every recording, every message. Now, it was time to show her lies. I stood up, feeling both scared and strong. This wasn't just about winning. It was about making her face what she'd done. As I spoke, I saw Sarah's confidence start to crack. The jury listened closely. their faces changing from curious to shocked. I played the recordings, her own words betraying her. In that moment, I felt powerful. I was no longer the victim. I was the one fighting back. I realized how much I'd grown. I'd battled her manipulation, her lies. This was my chance to take back my life. Sarah couldn't control me anymore. As the judge thought about the decision, I knew I'd flipped the script. The day of reckoning had come, and I was ready for whatever happened next. Your Honor, I said, my voice steady. This is the truth. I could feel the energy shift in the room. The truth was finally going to be heard. As I got ready for the testimonies, I knew the witnesses were the key to my case against Sarah. My heart raced with anxiety and determination. This was serious, and if the jury believed my witnesses, it could change everything. I started with my friend Alex. He'd seen Sarah and Jake together too many times. He was trustworthy and could back up my claims. When Alex stepped up to the stand, I took a deep breath, hoping the jury would hear the truth in his voice. I saw them laughing and holding hands, he said, his words cutting through the room. I watched the jury lean forward, their eyes locked on him. Then came Mrs. Thompson, my neighbor. She'd listened to Sarah's late-night phone calls, filled with sneaky whispers and giggles. I heard her talking to someone in the dark, she testified. The jury gasped, their faces showing shock. Her words painted a clear picture of deception, and I could feel the weight of her testimony pushing my case forward. With each witness, hope surged inside me. I knew Sarah was trying to frame me, but my witnesses were strong, their honesty shining, bright. Their stories added layers to the truth I needed to show. I noticed the jury's expressions changing. They were starting to see the real Sarah, the manipulator behind all the lies. Then, out of nowhere, Sarah's lawyer stood up, a sly smile on his face. "What about the lies you've told?" he challenged. My heart dropped. This was the moment I dreaded, but I stayed calm. "I'm not the one lying here," I replied firmly, locking eyes with him. The tension in the room grew thick, the jury's eyes flickered between us, and I felt the energy shift. My witnesses were holding strong, but I knew Sarah wouldn't go down without a fight. This was my chance to reveal her as the true villain, the one who'd betrayed my trust. As the trial continued, I could see the cracks forming in Sarah's facade. My witnesses were delivering the truth, and I was ready to fight for it. This was more than just a case. It was about uncovering the darkness of manipulation and greed that had twisted our lives. I could feel the stakes rising, and I was determined to win. Every eye in the courtroom was glued to the jury. I could feel their stares, heavy and probing, as they tried to understand the truth I'd just shared. The tension crackled in the air. Did they grasp the betrayal I'd faced? Could they see through Sarah's lies? As I laid out my evidence, I watched their faces change. First, they looked doubtful, but soon their expressions morphed into disbelief and sympathy. They weren't just a bunch of people deciding my fate. They were real, feeling humans. I could see the moment they started to connect the dots and realize what had really happened. Then Sarah took the stand. She twisted everything, claiming I was the one with problems. I noticed the jury exchanging quick glances. Their eyes seemed to say, "This is crazy." Hope surged in my chest. My heart raced as I realized they might finally believe me. When the last testimonies wrapped up, the jury leaned in, focused and serious. They were listening intently, absorbing every part of the story. In that moment, I felt a strange comfort. They were my shield against Sarah, the woman who'd tried to ruin me. Their reactions would decide my future, and I held my breath, hoping for justice to prevail. The gavel slammed down, and my heart raced as the verdict echoed in the courtroom. I'd won. But the relief was mixed with disbelief. I felt like I'd escaped a dark tunnel, yet the shadows of betrayal loomed over me. Sarah's betrayal cut deep, and I needed a way to deal with the aftermath. I grabbed a notebook and started scribbling. My thoughts. "Why did she do it?" I wrote, my anger spilling onto the page. Each word helped me sort through the chaos in my mind. It was like peeling back layers of hurt, revealing raw emotions I didn't know I had. "Let's talk." my friend Jake said, sliding into the seat next to me. I looked at him, unsure. You can't do this alone, he insisted. I nodded, realizing he was right. I reached out to friends and family, leaning on their strength. It felt good to share my pain, but trust was a hard bridge to rebuild. I decided to dive into new adventures. Join the art club, my sister suggested. At first, I hesitated, but then I thought, why not? I grabbed a paintbrush and let colors splash on the canvas. It was freeing, a way to express what I couldn't say out loud. I found joy in creating, a light in the darkness, but every now and then, the memories of Sarah would creep back in. You think you can just forget? Her voice echoed in my mind. I trusted you, I shouted, fighting back tears. I was tired of being a victim. I needed to take charge of my life. Let's go hiking this weekend, Jake said one day, trying to lift my spirits. The mountains will clear your head. I agreed, eager for a break from the turmoil. As we climbed, I could feel the weight lifting. Each step felt like a step away from the past. Look at that view, he shouted, pointing to the horizon. I grinned, feeling alive. In that moment, I promised myself I wouldn't let Sarah's betrayal define me. I'd rise above it. I walked out of the courtroom, heart racing, but a weight lifted off my shoulders. I'd won, but it felt like I was still trapped in a storm. Sure, the judge ruled in my favor, but the betrayal cut deep. What hurt more wasn't just losing a partner, but losing trust in everyone around me. Every day felt like a battle. I replayed the moments that led to the trial in my mind, asking myself, how could they do this to me? It was tiring, like carrying a heavy backpack full of rocks. I needed to rebuild my trust, but fear held me back. How could I ever let anyone into my heart again after this? I turned to my friends and family. I don't know if I can trust again, I said one day, my voice shaky. They rallied around me, saying, not everyone is like them. You'll find a way. Their words were like a lifeline, pulling me toward hope. Slowly, I began to let go of my anger. I wanted to dream again, to feel alive, but rebuilding trust wasn't as easy as flipping a switch. It took small steps. I met new people, shared laughs, and let myself be open. Each friendly smile felt like a tiny victory, a sign I was healing. It was scary, but I was determined to move forward. As I tried to put my life back together, the shadow of revenge hung over me, like a dark cloud. Every turn I took, I felt it creeping closer, whispering fears into my head. Sarah's betrayal hurt deep, leaving marks I couldn't erase. I knew she wouldn't just let it go. She was the type to strike back, and I'd to be ready. In my worst moments, I pictured her scheming, trying to turn my friends against me. What if she made my life a living nightmare? The fear gnawed at me. I started looking over my shoulder, wondering who I could trust. Is Mark really my friend? I thought. Or is he just another piece in her twisted game? I threw myself into work and hobbies, hoping to distract myself, but that shadow never left. I replayed every moment with Sarah, searching for clues that I'd missed. It drained me, but I refused to let her win. I'd to stay strong. Every day, I told myself to turn my hurt into strength. I wouldn't let her define me. I focused on healing, dreaming of a future where I could breathe freely, without her looming over me. It wouldn't be easy, but I was ready for whatever came next. Hey, are you okay? Mark asked one day, sensing my tension. Just tired, I replied, forcing a smile. But inside, I was a storm, ready to fight back against the chaos she caused. Let's hang out this weekend. Get your mind off things, he suggested. And I wondered if he was genuine or just another pawn in her game. Yeah, I'd like that, I said. But the doubt lingered. 3 weeks after the court hearing, everything felt different. I stared at my phone, thinking about Mark, my best friend. He'd betrayed me in ways that made my stomach twist. His secrets hung over me like a dark cloud, and I couldn't shake the feeling of mistrust. It was like living in a scary movie where I couldn't trust anyone. I thought we were close, I whispered to myself, remembering the fun times we had. But now, all I saw was a liar. Anger bubbled inside me, and I felt heartbroken. What if other friends were hiding things too? It made my skin crawl. Rebuilding trust seemed like a mountain too high to climb. I wanted to shield my heart, but deep down, I craved real friendships. I didn't want to live in fear, always looking over my shoulder. I needed a plan to move on, to shake off the messy feelings of betrayal. So I decided to reach out to my other friends. "Hey, can we talk?" I texted them, my fingers trembling. Each reply felt like a tightrope walk. I wanted honesty, but what if they were fake too? "Are you okay?" Sarah asked when we met. I took a deep breath. "Not really. I feel lost." I shared my worries, hoping she'd understand. I'd to let them in. I needed them to know how much Mark's betrayal hurt. "Trust is hard," she replied, her eyes serious. "But I'm here for you." Her words gave me a glimmer of hope. Maybe not everyone was out to get me. Days turned into weeks, and the journey to rebuild trust was tough. "Can we hang out?" I asked a different friend, trying to be brave. "Of course," he replied with a smile. Each small step felt like progress. Realized that true friends wouldn't let me down. I'd to believe that. I was ready to face my fears and open my heart again. Even if it was scary, I wanted to find real friendships, ones that wouldn't break like glass. I was trying to trust again, but betrayal hung over me like a dark cloud. Sarah had stabbed me in the back, and now I felt like I was tiptoeing around a minefield. Trust was fragile, and I started to doubt everyone, even my best friend, Mark. He smiled and offered support, but a voice in my head whispered, "Can you really believe him?" Recovering from betrayal was hard. Every time someone reached out to help, I wondered if they were hiding something. The fear of more pain twisted my gut. I felt stuck in a loop of distrust, the same way I felt after Sarah betrayed me. I wanted to believe in people again, but how could I? The thought that anyone could betray me again haunted me. As I worked on healing, I knew I'd to take charge. I started setting boundaries and learning to trust slowly. I read books, went to therapy, anything to help me feel better. I practiced sharing my thoughts bit by bit, trying to rebuild my faith in others. It wasn't easy, and every step felt like climbing a mountain, but I was determined to keep going. Each day felt like a tug-of-war between hope and fear. I wanted to break free from the chains of doubt. I craved real friendships, ones that weren't clouded by betrayal. I knew it wouldn't be simple, but I was ready to fight for my peace and find trust again. "Mark, do you really have my back?" I asked one day, my voice shaky. "Of course, I'm here for you," he replied. But the hesitation in his eyes made me wonder. I pushed myself to keep moving forward, even when it felt impossible. I wanted to trust, but I didn't know if I could. The shadows of the past loomed, and I had to face them head on. Trust was a battle, but I was ready to fight for it. Trusting Mark was like walking on a tightrope, and I could feel something was off. His eagerness to help felt fake, like he'd hidden reasons I couldn't see. I wanted to believe he was my friend, but every time I opened up to him, a chill of doubt crept in. After discovering Sarah's betrayal, I started to wonder about Mark. Was he sharing my secrets with her? The thought hit me hard, like a punch in the gut. Betrayals like this tear friendships apart. I replayed our conversations in my mind, looking for clues that could reveal his true loyalty. Mark's concern for me felt less genuine each day. I'd seen him as a friend, but now I couldn't shake the worry that he might stab me in the back. Every time I looked at him, memories turned sour, tainted by suspicion. I had to face him, but fear clawed at me. What if I was wrong? What if I lost him too? But I couldn't ignore the warnings. I was tired of hiding from the truth. The stakes were high, and I needed answers. I wouldn't let Mark's hidden agenda control my life. I was ready to fight for the truth. "Mark," I said, my voice shaky, but firm. "We need to talk." He looked surprised, but quickly masked it with a smirk. "Sure, what's up? Are you really on my side, or are you feeding Sarah information?" My heart raced as I watched his expression change. "Why would you think that?" he shot back, his tone sharp. "I'm your friend." Are you? I challenged, feeling bold. Prove it. Mark's eyes narrowed, and I could sense the tension crackling between us. This was the moment I'd been dreading, but also the moment I needed. I wouldn't let fear keep me in the dark any longer. As I stood across from Mark, my heart pounded. A storm of fear and anger swirling inside me. This was it, the moment that could change everything. I'd discovered his betrayal. He'd been sneaking secrets to Sarah, and it felt like a punch to the gut. I couldn't just let this go. I needed answers. We met at the old cafe, the same place where we used to share laughs and dreams, but today it felt heavy with tension. Why did you betray me? I demanded, my voice shaking but firm. His gaze dropped, guilt written all over his face. I was trying to protect you, he said. But I saw right through him. Protecting me? No, he was only protecting Sarah.